The Ministry of Social Development will not appeal the High Court judgment that earlier this month ruled bank loans and credit cards do not constitute income. Now, regular listeners will remember the case of Miss F, a woman with name suppression who fought MSD in successive courts for 8.5 years. Zach Fleming gave us that story a few weeks ago. The Ministry was trying to recover nearly $110,000 from the solo mother of two, arguing that money she borrowed between 2005 and 2010 while on a benefit constituted income. But in a pretty clear-cut High Court ruling, Justice Paul Davison said simply that loans are not income because they have to be paid back. MSD's been considering advice on that ruling for nearly a month now, and in the past hour it's told us it accepts it and will not appeal, but it's making no apologies for taking the case in the first place. Here's Deputy Chief Executive of Service Delivery, Viv Rickards.
This was a complex case. We had an individual that was receiving $180,000 worth of money from about 140 different payments, and clearly there was a lot of money involved and they were getting a benefit. So on part of that, the court has indicated that some of it could not be treated as income, but they left some questions open, so that's why I'm very clear. I can't
see where they left the questions open. The court is very clear. Justice Davison's judgment is very clear. He identifies that all the money was either from the woman's mother or from the bank in the form of loans and overdrafts. I just wonder why you couldn't have worked this out without going to the High Court. Look,
as I said, it's bigger than just the amount of money and one loan. If it was just one loan, it was an easy thing to deal with. Most listeners would think, hang on, I don't want my loan treated as income because I need to pay that back. But don't forget, there are 140 other payments, not just the loan. There were a number of other payments, and it was entirely appropriate to seek clarification. And we've got that from the High Court.
But you didn't get it from the client. You got it. I mean, the clarification you got, I'm sorry to be insistent about this. The clarification you got from the High Court was really clear. This was not income. These were loans.
But this is the issue. When you read the whole judgment, and from the media coverage that I've seen, I've only seen one person from Christchurch who's actually read the whole judgment and actually put the case forward about it was entirely appropriate, and that's our view. That I looked at it and said, this is entirely appropriate to seek clarification, so we should. Look, we administer $23 billion. I'm not going to open the gates so everyone can come in and just get money. We give money to people who need it, and if you have $180,000 from a different range of sources, entirely appropriate to seek clarification whether some of that should be treated as income. We don't treat loans as income. We were always very clear on some of that. There are some other issues in terms of the money that was made available. That's what we sought to get clarification.
You were treating loans as income in this case, weren't you? Where was the income? Where was the money in this case that wasn't from loans?
Look, when you look at the legislation that guides us on this, it treats money that comes in from loans. It can be treated as income in certain circumstances. When you bring the whole lot of this together, it looked like, and very clearly, that's income. That's what we sought clarification on.
You're making such a compelling case for having taken a good case here that I'm wondering why you're not appealing. I mean, it seems to me you're having a bob each way. On the one hand, you're not appealing because the judgment is so particular, so singular, that there's basically no grounds for an appeal. On the other hand, you're saying, hey, it was a good case to take.
Well, the court system's made up this way. One, we have law that's codified, and we seek guidance from higher courts in terms of clarification. That's what's happened in this particular case. That's how our court system runs. And, I don't get disappointed. We seek clarification. That's what the higher court did, and I accept the guidance that they have given.
What does this mean as a precedent then? Where does this leave you should you see something similar to this again?
Well, generally we don't treat loans as income, right? So that's number one. We've looked at the number of cases that we have. We only have a small number, 4 or 5 cases that may be in a similar vein, so the numbers are very small. Out of the 28,000 people we engage with every day, we've only got around 4 or 5 cases that we're dealing with, so it's a very small number that we're going to have to deal with. Third point, I'll make it very clear, we've generally not treated it as income, so I'm relaxed in terms of the ongoing concerns, and our staff are aware very clearly in terms of the judgment and the decision not to go further on it. And, our job is not to interpret the law, that's for others. We've we've allowed that to happen. Now we'll just get on and do work, looking after our clients and trying to make them independent.
Absolutely. You say you've only got 4 or 5 cases. They're current cases, aren't they? Historically, you've had a lot more than that.
Oh, we would have had some cases in the past, but we've got 4 or 5 on the go at the moment. We encourage clients that want to engage to come and see us around this, but looking at the way we've interpreted it, it's been made in good faith. That's the law that we were following, but now we've got clarification from the High Court. That's one of the reasons I've got a balance here. On one part, I want to make sure that we're administering this $23 billion properly, and that only the people that are entitled to the money get it. So, and I think that's reasonable. Number 2, I want to make sure that the people who are entitled to it do get what they deserve, and we treat them appropriately, and that's what we're trying to do.
Viv Rickard speaking on behalf of MSD.